Hi, my name is Emma Jefferies, and I've been given the book Undercover User Experience Design by Bowles and Box to review for a book club on Monday. So I'm going to mind map the things that I found of interest in each chapter and share with you an overview of what I thought of it, and also share with you the questions I'm going to ask at book club. First chapter is about going undercover. It presents an overview about why you go undercover to obviously create better user experience products. But sometimes or the bigger company doesn't always buy into user experience, so you have to go undercover. So it presents a manifesto about how you actually start going undercover and start to develop user experience into the process. It has this manifesto where you start from the ground up. Change only happens via small victories, and it's about focusing on the delivery, not the deliverables. It's about good design, not great design, so about just getting it out there and getting feedback. It's about working with people, not working against them. And it's about actions and not words. In chapter 2, it's about exploring the problem. And when they start this chapter, it's about defining the problem. And they use a really good quote by Dan Ramp, which is, whoever is best at describing the problem is the best person most likely to solve it. They consider how you really should understand the culture of the organisation or company that you're designing for, what makes them tick. They present research methods. It argues that you should then put an executive summary of the key issues for the business case. Chapter 3 is about generating ideas, and they start off with this proposal that everyone can be a divergent thinker, and it's about starting to work with the stakeholders and how do you do that, and they come up with that you really need to be a good facilitator and consider the environment that you do this within. Before going into the actual collaborative design workshops that they present as design games, to talk about sketching and the 3 levels of sketching. First of all, in the user experience process, you sketch for yourself, or they're quick sketches, getting your ideas out on paper. Second level is about sketching with other people, and these are more refined visuals so that everyone can start to share in what that vision is. And then you're more detailed in the way that you go about your sketch work, the visualizations of the interfaces. Then it goes on to the collaborative design workshops. It tells you how to start these design games, how you run them. I was particularly interested in these because they're all about sharing people's understanding and seeing a way forward so everyone can visualize where the product is going. Chapter 4 is about making it real, about the deliverables of the UX outputs, about the sitemaps and wireframes, and they see them as documenting design choices. More particularly in this chapter, I was really interested in the level of fidelity. You've got 3 levels about how you select the design outputs. You've got low, medium and high. The low ones are quite interesting as they're just paper mock-ups, the rough approximation about what users want. The medium ones are more using software so that you can make changes as and when that you need them to show what the users want. The high are actually full level details on a full prototype of the websites. But how do you actually choose them? They go on to say that you should choose the level of fidelity by its audience, time, lifespan, scope, and what's quite interesting, whether you're innie or outie. So if you're innie, you're someone who's in the company and you can get away with more low-level outputs. But if you're outie, you probably have to do high-level ones. So if you're an outie, you're someone who's freelancing for the company and you're probably going to have to do high-level outputs. In chapter 5 it was quite interesting because it's about refining solutions. So you've got about testing, iteration here. But what I was particularly interested in was critique is often overlooked. There's quite a lot of problems with how critiques are run. And one of the problems is what, not how, so focus on how you've addressed the problems. Second of all, it's sometimes people can take feedback personally. Feedback can be given at the wrong level, and sometimes there's too much feedback and too many feedback loops. They put forward a validation stack to deal with and improve critique. You base decisions on user experience, user research and design theory, backing up why you've made the decisions that have been made. Chapter 6 I most enjoyed because it was about the relationships with other people within the process. So you've got the developers, visual designers, senior management, and how they all communicate and their mindsets and what they're after. But also in this chapter it's about working with the Agile, and was to say that Agile is a mindset and it's not a process. And they see this as one of the biggest challenges UX is actually facing, is the Agile process, for two reasons. First, because the Agile process requires that you really work fast, and we're used to being predictable, but now you have to be reactive. And second of all, it's mostly developer driven, and that means that the designers have less control over the design, and it requires a more collaborative mindset from both parties. I think if you're going faster, you're going to have to work out how to, instead of doing a chunk of research at the start, how do you actually do research at a fast pace throughout the process and more quickly. Basically, they said we need to learn how to play together and play together well. Chapter 7 was about where next. Basically saying that change in a culture in a large scale company takes time. It's about taking ownership, education, persuasion, showing a return on investments, telling stories, building your skills. They outline different stages of the process of embedding UX design within a company. First of all, the first phase starts with the individual putting user experience processes under the design web design process. You go to the second phase, which is about emergent UX, where UX designers are beginning to take root in the organisation and move forward. The business uses some key basic tools before the pre-launch to check the website. Then it moves on to phase 2, which is maturing UX. From a business point of view, the business is approaching UX in a mature way. They have a strong footing in the company and all the digital outputs. On an executive level, they're really championing and recognising the cause. And on a team level, there's at least one UX practitioner with all the skills, and there's training available to keep employers' skills fresh. Phase 3, it's about individual. In phase 3, it's about integrated UX. The organisation is really rooted in the whole user-centred focus. It really goes beyond the digital activities. At this level, it's not only the team that's actually doing user experience, it's the whole company. And then they asked the big question about how do you then excite businesses and stakeholders to give budgets, responsibility and recognition to user experience. In summary, I think this book's really a practical guide and updates you on the knowledge and processes that are currently used. And second, I really enjoy chapter 6. Why? Because if UX is going to move on, chapter 6 is all about relationships and how people share and understand different types of mindsets involved in the whole process. And it's only through understanding and sharing how people see and work will it move forward. And third, at the start I was really not sure about Undercover, and by the end I really could see why it was necessary. If people are to move on and see the benefit, going undercover first and then being explicit and communicating to different people with their language is really important. So at the book club, I really want to find out more about people's experience of going undercover. Second of all, I want to find out more about design games. And third, I want to really find out more about how people are innovating UX methods in an agile setting.